In the sweltering heart of Port Harcourt, where dust and sweat mixed with the scent of grease, Motor Plaza pulsed with life. Traders haggled, engines coughed and roared, and the air was thick with the promise of deals made and broken. Traders from across Nigeria flocked to the market. Amidst the labyrinth of spare parts and sun-baked asphalt, Daniel moved like a silent orchestrator of chaos. He was a tall, charismatic figure, his booming laugh as legendary as his uncanny knowledge of cars. He could diagnose an engine problem just by listening to its rhythm, yet irony clung to him like a shadow. He owned no car of his own. Whispers followed him. He knows every bolt but can't afford a ride, they sneered. Daniel, however, was unmoved. He lived and breathed the symphony of pistons and gears, not for possession but for mastery. His passion set him apart. Yet, where he was wise in engines, he was naive in friendships. His pockets were always open, his generosity boundless. Drinks flowed freely when Daniel was around, feasts were lavish, and no bill ever touched another hand. His charisma drew people in, his open wallet kept them close. He helped everyone around him. All his friends knew him as a philanthropist. He believed in the currency of camaraderie, a naive faith that would soon be shattered. He believed in loyalty, but he had yet to learn that the world bled opportunists.
Hello guys, haven't subscribed yet? Please subscribe now, hit the like button, and leave a comment to help.
One fateful afternoon, a sleek black limousine sliced through the market crowd, a predator among prey. Its arrival sucked the noise from the air. Traders watched in hushed curiosity as Chief Okoro, a man whose wealth could shift destinies, emerged with a scowl. His frustration was evident. He had scoured Nigeria for a rare, nearly mythical component for his prized Rolls Royce, all in vain. Mocking laughter met his inquiries. "Ask Daniel," someone jeered, more insult than suggestion. Yet, desperate, the chief made his way to Daniel's cramped shop. Skepticism flickered in his gaze as he took in the cluttered space, the oil-stained tools. As he approaches Daniel's shop, Daniel spoke, his voice a smooth weave of knowledge and passion. He was immediately struck by Daniel's passion and knowledge. Daniel asked him about the car he was working on, and the rich man was amazed by Daniel's detailed descriptions of the car's engine, transmission, and suspension. With such intimate detail it left the chief momentarily stunned. It was as if Daniel had personally designed the car himself. The rich man was so impressed that he asked Daniel if he knew where he could find the rare part he needed. "Do you have the part?" Chief Okoro asked, skepticism threading his voice. Daniel thought for a moment, looked at the picture by scrutinizing every curve and groove thoroughly, and then his face lit up with a smile, his eyes gleamed. "I think I might have something that can help you. Wait here," he said, disappearing into the back of his shop, the chief's engineers exchanging doubtful glances. Moments later, Daniel emerged, cradling 3 variations of the part in his hands, each subtly different. He spoke with an almost reverent tone, explaining the nuances of each part, the specific model years they belonged to, the subtle differences in their alloys. He singled out one, its surface glinting with the promise of restoration. It looked exactly like what the chief had been searching for. The chief's breath caught. It was impossible, yet there it was. He handed over the perfect match to the chief's engineers, its surface gleaming under the market's harsh light. "How?" Chief Okoro whispered, his composure splintering. "I've offered fortunes, and no one." Daniel simply smiled. "I just know cars." Intrigued, the chief made an impulsive decision. "Come with me," he commanded. Daniel found himself whisked away to a sprawling estate, standing in a pristine garage that gleamed with automotive masterpieces. Under the sharp eyes of skeptical engineers, he fitted the part with an almost sacred precision. The Rolls Royce roared back to life, its engine a low, throaty growl that resonated with power. Chief Okoro was silent for a long moment, then pulled out his phone. Hans, I've found someone you need to meet. A true savant. Daniel's heart pounded. The name Hans carried weight in the automotive world, a legendary German dealer with connections that span continents. As he spoke to Hans, a door creaked open in his mind, a glimpse of a future beyond the confines of Motor Plaza. Hans was a legend, a German dealer. The doorway to his future had just been cracked open. Hans will connect you with an agent, Chief Okoro explained, a glint in his eye. This could be your chance, Daniel. For the first time, Daniel glimpsed a life beyond the suffocating confines of Motor Plaza. He threw himself into preparation, saving every naira, planning his future in silence. He planned meticulously, saving his way, dreaming of the day he'd fly to Germany. He kept his plans secret, a seed germinating in the dark. He confided in his father, a man whose wisdom was forged in the fires of hardship. Don't breathe a word to anyone, Daniel, his father warned, his voice low. Success attracts envy like honey draws flies, keep this to yourself. Daniel tried to share his excitement with his friends, but a subtle chill had crept into their interactions. He noticed that their behavior changed a little bit. He wanted to tell them about his trip, but then he thought it over as why none of them had asked him anything. They hadn't even bothered to ask him why all the goods in his shop were being reduced without replacement. As good friends they owe him such. They were supposed to ask him, to know if he was having problems in his business. Their smiles seemed strained, their laughter hollow. The ones who had feasted at his table and laughed at his jokes, began to change. The warmth in their voices turned brittle, their smiles no longer reached their eyes. He felt the weight of unspoken resentment pressing against him, suffocating. It became clear that their friendship was based on what they could gain from him, which was simply transactional. And since he was no longer spending lavishly, he was of no use to them. So because of this he concluded that he wasn't going to tell them about his plans unless they asked him. Then came the weekend that changed everything. Daniel, as was his custom, called his friends, wanting to celebrate the end of a good week. But his calls went unanswered. He visited their homes, only to find locked doors and darkened windows. A knot of dread tightened in his stomach. Finally, he confronted them, his voice tight with suppressed emotion. What's going on? Why are you guys avoiding me? He demanded, his voice tight. One of them, Emeka, a man who had benefited most from Daniel's generosity, sneered. Daniel, wake up. Everyone knows your pockets are empty. We're not riding a sinking ship with you. The words were like a physical blow. The betrayal cut deeper than any insult. So, that's it. After all I've done for you. Another, Chidi, laughed cruelly. You chose to play Father Christmas, Daniel. We didn't ask you to. Now you're reaping what you sowed. We have families to feed, bills to pay. We can't afford your pity party. The world seemed to tilt. The faces of his friends were now masks of callous indifference. The years of shared laughter, the countless acts of kindness, were reduced to nothing, erased by the harsh reality of their parasitic affections. Remember, Daniel said, his voice dangerously low, the downfall of a man is not the end of his life. Emeka snorted. Save your empty threats, Daniel. You're finished. Without another word, Daniel turned on his heel, walking away as their laughter stabbed at his back. The night swallowed him whole, but inside, something burned, something sharp, something relentless. He stood on the edge of the city, staring at its twinkling lights, and felt himself change. The naive, open-hearted Daniel was dying. In his place, a man of cold ambition was being born. He remembered his father's warning. A friend who can stand by you in your trials was never your friend. The truth stung. He regretted every naira wasted, every lavish gesture thrown at those who had proven themselves unworthy. Regret simmered in his chest. Every naira spent on them was a lesson learned too late. But lessons had power, and Daniel would wield them ruthlessly. That night, Daniel didn't sleep. He strategized. He planned. He began to sever the ties that bound him to the past. The man who had been known for his generosity and philanthropic ways would become known for something else entirely: his ambition, his ruthlessness, and his unwavering focus on building an empire of his own. The betrayal had been a gift wrapped in venom. It had forged something new, something dangerous. And when Daniel rose again, the world would not meet the man they had scorned. They would learn, in time, that underestimating Daniel had been their greatest mistake. The game had changed, and Mr. Daniel was about to play. They would meet Mr. Daniel and they would regret ever doubting him. Daniel's world imploded in slow motion, like a ticking time bomb waiting to unleash its devastating fury. It wasn't the loss of his business as he was saving for his trip that stung the most, it was the swift, merciless desertion. "So, this is it," he whispered, the realization creeping in like a venomous serpent coiling in his gut. "They'd have left me to rot if truly he had lost everything. Oh my God," he screamed, "people are wicked and heartless indeed." He replayed their words, their gestures, the memories of their betrayal still lingered, a festering wound that refused to heal. He replayed their words, their gestures, the countless Sunday rice feasts punctuated by insincere praise. The "Daniel, you cook better than a woman," now echoed with mocking cruelty, a reminder of the charade they had played. It was all a ruse, a parasitic dance of convenience. He was a well they drained until it ran dry, then abandoned without a backward glance. The days that followed were a blur of humiliation and despair. The food vendor, Mama Eka, whose daughter's surgery he'd funded, was the cruelest cut of all. When he attempted to buy food from her, she refused to serve him, saying, "I'm not here to feed jobless men. Give me money or leave." Surprised and shocked, he stood there watching as the woman dishes food for people without collecting money. So why was his own different? He signaled to her and said, "If you don't want to put food for me, please tell me." The woman turned to him angrily, "Daniel, please give me money if you want food. I won't be the one feeding you in this market. Everyone knows that your shop is empty. You aren't doing anything in the market again. Please leave my food station if you don't have money," the woman snarled. She spat at him, her eyes hard and unforgiving. The saliva landed on his worn shoe, a physical manifestation of his perceived worthlessness. The whispers and smirks that followed were a chorus of condemnation, a relentless drumbeat that threatened to consume him whole. The news of his alleged bankruptcy became a twisted form of entertainment, a spectacle that drew in the curious and the cruel. Passers-by openly pitied or mocked him, their words laced with a venom he didn't know existed in the hearts of strangers. His own father was bombarded with rumors of his son's failure. But Daniel had a secret, a hidden ace that he kept close to his chest. He had applied for a German visa, a desperate gamble for a future he refused to surrender. It was his ticket out of the abyss, a chance to start anew and leave the betrayals of the past behind. Then, silence. Daniel vanished from the market, the whispers and speculation began. Some claimed he had gone back to his village, shamed and defeated. Others whispered of debt collectors, some said his landlord had evicted him out cause he couldn't pay the rent. But the truth, hidden beneath the layers of gossip and scorn, was far more audacious. What no one knew was that he had embarked on a new journey, one that would change his destiny forever. He hadn't confided in anyone, only his father knew, about the German visa. It was his ace in the hole, a desperate gamble for a future he refused to surrender. He pictured their faces when he finally returned. Daniel's journey to Germany was a baptism by fire. The biting cold mirrored the chill in his bones, and he battled a foreign tongue, a relentless work ethic, and the gnawing pangs of hunger. There were nights he slept on park benches, the city lights mocking his poverty. But the humiliation, Mama Aka's spittle, the hollow praise, these were the fuel that kept him burning for victory. He immersed himself in the automobile trade. Late nights studying schematics in broken German, relentless networking, and a shrewd eye for opportunity. Slowly, painstakingly, he clawed his way up. He learned to navigate the cutthroat world, making alliances with the right people and securing deals that were the foundation stones of his future empire. Back in Port Harcourt, life continued, oblivious to Daniel's grueling transformation. The former friends, the backstabbers, the pitying vendors, they all went about their daily routines, secure in their belief that Daniel was a casualty of fate. Then came the photo, sent anonymously to one of the traders. It was a snapshot from another world. Daniel, immaculate in a tailored suit, stood beside a lineup of gleaming luxury cars, the German sun glinting off their polished surfaces. The caption, rising from the ashes. "Oh my God! I can't believe this," exclaimed one of them as they all stared at themselves, wondering if what they saw is true. His former friends were in disbelief. People started gathering round, looking into the phone for a glimpse of Daniel all over the market. Panic erupted. A frenzy of phone calls, unanswered. Desperate messages on social media, ignored. The man they thought they knew, the one they had written off, was suddenly a titan. The news hit like a tidal wave when during a live broadcast on Nigerian television, Daniel was named the Automobile Entrepreneur of the Year. The electronic shop's television became a focal point. A mammoth crowd gathered, mesmerized, their faces a mixture of disbelief and grudging admiration. To see a man who once walked among them, to now a successful mogul. Markets started hailing and praising. When Daniel finally returned to Port Harcourt, it wasn't on a bus but a private jet. He wasn't just wealthy, he was a force to be reckoned with. Containers filled with high-end car parts rolled through the city, a tangible symbol of his triumph. The market held its breath. Mama aka, face etched with regret, approached him, begging for forgiveness. The former friends, their eyes bright with opportunistic eagerness, sought him out, fawning and insincere. But Daniel was unmoved. He had seen their true faces, tasted the bitterness of their betrayal. He offered no olive branch, no second chance. The past could not be undone. His empire flourished, built not on sentimentality or false friendship, but on hard work, relentless focus, and a burning desire for revenge, not on them but on what they had turned him into. Daniel's story became a legend in Port Harcourt. A cautionary tale about the fickleness of fortune, the corrosive power of betrayal, and the incandescent strength of the human spirit. He hadn't just risen from the ashes, he had forged himself anew in the fires of adversity. Lesson: beware the serpents in your garden. True friends are forged in hardship, not fair weather smiles. And sometimes, the greatest revenge is not revenge at all, but the quiet satisfaction of leaving the betrayers behind as you rise to your own greatness.
Hello guys, I hope you enjoyed our stories. Please hit the like button, leave a comment below and subscribe to our channel.